Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today was day 9 of Spoiler Season 4, 3.16 and the Scourge League. Today was the first time that we had 2 teasers in a day. So teasers are these little screenshots that we're getting, very small pieces of news that are mostly aimed at long-term Path of Exile players. And this had 2 things in it. The first one was the catch, a divination card that's a little bit of a meme item. So fishing rods have been a meme item ever since they were introduced. I believe they've been around since open beta, and they are the worst weapon slot item in the game for normal play. They can have only a 4 link in them, and they do very little damage with no combat stats of note. So what would it take to convince you to equip a fishing rod for a long time? Well, that's the purpose of this divination card. It will have a random incubator attached to it already. Now, one thing that's interesting to note here is that because of the way divination cards work, this is going to be capped at item level 80, and so presumably is the incubation. If this goes by the normal pool of incubated items, then this is going to basically be a huge lot of hoops to jump through for what is essentially strictly worse than a random item level 80 incubator. But it's entirely possible that with a meme item like this, that there may be some sort of low weighting options on the incubators that could be particularly interesting or good. So we'll have to see once this card is out there. Last thing I'll say about this is that fishing rods just have inherent meme value. So there will be people trying to compile a set just for the sake of having everything related to fishing in the game. So the second teaser was something that went down really, really badly. So this one was something that actually got downvoted into oblivion on Reddit. It was actually quite hard to find over on Reddit. And basically what it is, the Sacred Orb, this is something that interacts with the new system for enhanced local defenses on armor pieces. So any armor piece that can have armorer's scraps applied to it. So this is one of the things that was changed in the upcoming 3.16 Defenses Manifesto, was that everything that can have armorer's scraps applied to it is going to get a sort of hidden second quality stat, is what people tend to be calling it. So this will be from 0 to 10% increase over baseline stats for pieces that provide armor or evasion, and a 0 to 20% increase over baseline stats for pieces that provide increased energy shield. So this was originally outlined as something that you would not be able to modify on an item. So it'd be a base property of items, and it would mean that, say, for instance, if you were to find a Chevron's Wrappings and it had a poor roll on this scale, you could apply Divine Orbs to it, and that would change its explicit energy shield amounts, but you would have no way to modify this baseline quality, this new stat that functions like quality but isn't quality. So along came the Sacred Orb as a potential alternative here, and this would randomize the numeric values of base defenses on an armor. So this was received really, really poorly over on the Path of Exile subreddit, because it sort of just makes getting the Sacred Orb into the right place ends up being a second copy of getting quality on an item. Now, it might be a lot rarer than quality, so it might be more appropriate to compare this to getting a Gem Cutter Prism, like to applying Gem Cutter Prisms to gems, which can be something that you can't really do early in a league. It's something that's more of a mid-league goal for a lot of people. Or it might be something that's even a far endgame goal, like applying Divine Orbs to an item to make it really good. But people just didn't think it was going to be very interesting gameplay, and so there was quite a bit of a backlash. Anyway, GGG are internally reviewing this one, and they are going to post up some sort of extended discussion on this over on the Path of Exile website. No guarantee on when this will come. I kind of feel like it might be tomorrow, but we will see. But that'll be an interesting one to see what way they end up going on this. As for my own thoughts quickly on it, I don't really like this new system very much. I can see what GGG are trying to do. They're trying to cope with the amount of item bloat that drops, because players are capable of earning 20, 30,000 items an hour, and they're trying to make it so that there's new ways for items to stand out amongst that crowd, but I don't think this is a very interesting way of doing it. I think fundamentally, what would be a more effective way of achieving that goal would be having a reduction in the quantity of drops of items in ultra juiced content. So that instead of getting 30,000 items an hour, players are seeing like 6,000 items an hour, and that's going to inherently make every item 5 times more special than it is now. But ultimately, that's going to be a difficult one to make work as well. You've then got to find some way to make items a little bit better so that people feel like they're getting comparable amounts of rewards to what they're currently getting. It's a minefield. Ultimately, it's not gonna you're not gonna make everyone happy with it. But that's where all of the controversies come up around the Sacred Orb. Anyways, we're going to see what they actually end up doing with it. This was intended to be a news video, not an editorial one. So I think I should leave it there, except just with a very quick recap that the live stream, the big news information, is in 3 days' time. It's actually a little bit less than 3 days. It's 2 days and 21 hours. So look forward to that, and I will see you there. I will be restreaming it on Twitch.